All right, so this is I think I had the wrong microphone selected so no one could hear me, so I'm going to do this again. Um, but I was requested by Derek to talk about my journey with entrepreneurship and, my struggles and wins and losses so that he could probably share it with some people. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that and share a little bit about my journey and what I've gone through. Once again, this is my journey. This isn't your guys' journey. This isn't your life. This is my life, and it's probably not going to work for everyone. I mean, I could just share what I've gone through and what I've experienced. Um, I'm not your guru who's super excited and I'm going to be pitching you. I'm giving you real world shit, stuff that is real as it gets. Okay, good. Now you can hear me. Cool. So if you guys will like and share, I'm going to give it a couple minutes before I get started, just to let some people jump on. I see some people on here. So I have been an entrepreneur, I guess, if that's what you call it. Such a trendy word, but if that's what you call it, for 10 years now. I think 2008 was my first attempt at a business. You guys like my lion back there? Everyone like the lion $100 bill? I think it looks like a bear. Scarlett says it looks nothing like a bear. What do you guys think? Does it look like a bear, lion, both? I don't know. The mane isn't thick enough, I guess. Oh, it's art. All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started. So I've been an entrepreneur for 10 years, I guess you call it entrepreneur. I don't know if I'm an entrepreneur anymore. I don't know what the hell qualifies an entrepreneur and what doesn't. But in 2008, I decided to walk away from my job for the first time. Give you guys a little bit of background on me. I dropped out of high school in 10th grade, went in the military, couldn't even do good in there, got kicked out. Became a drug addict, was homeless quite a bit on the streets, and found a sales job. I was living in Pacific Beach in a garage, and I found a sales job cold calling and selling loan by phone hotlines to car dealers. When I got into sales over the phone, I've always been a phone salesperson. I've never really sold in person. I've always been a phone salesperson. And when I picked up a phone and started calling and selling, it was just natural to me. And I built that up pretty substantially. I took that from living in a beach in Oceanside to a direct mail company, a very large one that was doing, millions of pieces of mail per month. And we had, 80 employees or so that were on staff. And I was the general manager and had a big corner office. I had, every toy there was, and, was making close to $800,000 a year as the general manager of the company. And, I always wanted to own my own company. I'm sure everyone out there has those thoughts of, what I want to give to my kids and, what I'm going to leave for them, just like I did at the time. Even though I shouldn't have walked away from this job, I should have stayed because I didn't understand the value of a team. I'd like to highlight that. I do not recommend that you go out and just do what I did. I know there's lots of people that may watch this or just going to go out and do it anyways, just like my kids. But I'm trying to give you fair warning that being an entrepreneur is not easy. You can do it better than the way that I did it. It was a very big struggle. But I mean, other than sales, I dropped out in 10th grade. I had no college. I had really no future on where I was going to go in life. But I was really good at sales and I built that up. And, one day in 2008, I thought, well, screw this company. I don't need them anymore. That was the thought in my head. There was reasons behind why I left, but I mean, at the end of the day, I left because my ego got so big that, I thought I could do it on my own. And I went and started a company called Alligator. It was a direct mail company. I was going to compete with the company that I was working at and sell direct mail. And I did pretty good at that initially. Really had no software, and part of what I was selling before was software backed. I mean, that's what really helped us sell that product at the previous company. And, it really, I had no software. So it really became a struggle because I didn't know how to build software at the time. And that's what kind of sent me in the software direction as I was, struggling trying to figure out. I see 13 comments, but I do not see the comments, guys. I cannot scroll and see your comments. So I'm going to have to check these after. Unfortunately, it's not letting me scroll. Facebook, you suck. Oh, hold on. There we go. Now I see some comments. Okay. So anyways, I did pretty good with Alligator Eye for a little bit. And, I managed to cobble together some software that would allow dealers to submit loans to a certain lender. It was right when the subprime market was falling out, and it did pretty good. And then all of a sudden, that lender cut me off at the knees and took all my clients and crushed that business. I was probably in that business I don't know, I want to say 8 to 9 months before they did that. I tried to recoup, and then they sued me for the new company that I started for the name. They took the domain and they flat out put me out of business, and found myself living at home. I was still married with my son at the time and my wife, and we were in a house, and it was because I walked away from my $800,000 a year job. We were having to sell everything, and the company that I started just fell flat on its face and failed miserably. So if you don't think that you can handle something like that, if you're not prepared to handle something like that, then make sure that you get some ducks in a row before you step out to do what I did. Save some money, do the things that you need to do. But anyways, that got crushed. And then I went back to a partnership instead of my own company this time because I had my tail between my legs. So the next one was a partnership, and we did pretty good at that. That partnership, it was a company called Social Ups. We got up to about 500 dealerships. I built a gaming application for Facebook where you take a game and you put it on dealership Facebook pages, and it was getting fans because you had to like the page in order to play the game. And we got some dealers, hundreds of thousands of fans, and it did really good. And we got up to about 500 dealers paying us, 500 to 1,000 a month. And then Facebook changes their algorithms. And there I am again with another company that I put everything into, just as much as I'd put into Tecobi, that failed because Facebook made changes to the algorithms. And I had to start over again. And I left that partnership and moved to Colorado this time. To do my third time at entrepreneurship. And this was another partnership with someone that I thought was going to be able to help me get to the level that I wanted to get to. And I stayed at it for 2 years, and it was just a partnership that was unhealthy. I just could not get along with the person that we had partnered with for various reasons, and I don't want to call them out on videos, but that failed again. And this time I tanked everything and moved my family to Colorado to chase my dream. And it tanked again. And it was hard this time. I'm not going to lie. That third time was a real punch in the gut. It was a real big punch in the gut. And I mean, we're 7 years into this. This has been about 7 years into me trying to be an entrepreneur and do things on my own. And this last one, which was Spark, was a real punch in the gut. I'd lost everything. Scarlett had followed me out here, and we pretty much lost everything and had to start over again. Had a little bit of money from my buyout from it, but it wasn't what I had moved my whole family here for. And I almost gave up that time and almost went and looked for a job. I did not know if I wanted to go through the hard work that it takes to breathe life into a brand, breathe life into a company, breathe life into a team, and breathe life into another company. So luckily, I decided to keep at it. And on the fourth time, which was 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, we had started Tecobi when I left Spark, and this time it appears to be taken off. But once again, I mean, it's like today someone messaged me, someone that's, an entrepreneur, they're new with their business, and they had messaged me and said, you know what, last month was really hard. I didn't think I was going to make it. And I told them, every month, I don't know if I'm going to make it. That's the thing, is being an entrepreneur is really hard. This is not for the faint of heart. It is hard to be responsible for all the people in your company and all your clients, and pay attention to everything that needs to be paid attention to, and all the risk that is involved with being an entrepreneur, and no guarantee. I mean, there's no guarantee that with all this work that I'm going to be able to get to where I want to go. So still struggling to this day. Here we are 10 years later. I mean, things are better. They're moving in the right direction, but you never know when that storm's going to come through and wipe everything out, and you got to start over again. And that's the one thing I'm going to tell you about entrepreneurship. If you're going to be an entrepreneur, you got to be ready to get punched in the teeth. You got to be ready to get knocked out and get back up and try and try and try again. If you can't do that, and you don't want to get back up and try again, and you don't want to get punched in the teeth and get knocked out, then find a good team to work with. There is nothing wrong with working with a team of people that is a company that you don't own. I'm going to tell you that the 80th or 100th employee at Facebook or Google or at Amazon will make more money than probably anyone that ever watches this video. And they weren't the founders of it. They didn't think of the idea. So it's not always a bad thing to be on a team and to not be an entrepreneur. If I had to go back and redo everything, I would have stayed at that company. I would have built that team up, and I would have been buying my G63 long before now. So teams are very important. I've got a lot of time invested, and I have to keep going this direction. But if I had to do it all over again, I would have stayed at that company and continued to take that 800,000 a year to 2 million a year to 5 million a year to 10 million a year, and so on. So don't chase the dreams of entrepreneurship. It's not the only route. You can find a place on a really good team, and you need to think about that when you're out there searching and thinking if you want to be an entrepreneur. Is that something you want to do? Is this hard work something you want to do? I'm going to tell you that there's been so many Christmases that I didn't get to spend with my kids, that I had to sit in front of my computer and work, that had to be sacrificed. And if you're not willing to do that, then you can't go be an entrepreneur. You have to be willing to put everything aside, including yourself, your kids, your family, everything, like Eric Thomas says, you have to want success more than you want to breathe. And if you're not willing to do that, then just go be part of a team, because it doesn't require that much effort to be a part of a really good team. So that's my message on entrepreneurship. It has been ups and downs. It's had its struggles. This year, we will have broken the 7-figure mark, and plan on taking that really, really high over the coming years. So hopefully the decade of effort that I've put in trying to be an entrepreneur will eventually pay off. But I could have just stayed part of a team a long time ago and probably had a really good life. So just weigh that out when you're thinking about if you want to be an entrepreneur or if you want to go out and be a part of a really good team. All right, make it a great day. That's for Derek. I hope you guys crush it in whatever you decide to do.